Hey Solace, Agent Solo, Matt Rice here. Um, this video is going to be dedicated to solo games that piqued my interest for the UK Games Expo. And as a asterisk note that I wasn't there, but I've had a look into some research, had a look at some feelings from other people that have gone into a few games that are soloable that I want to look out for, I want to mention to people that to bring up as just a bit of news or just for something that's piqued my own interest in case you were curious of what I thought was um, worthy of talking about. And they've already on their main page they're already talking about next year 2025. So it was a big event. Looked like it went really well. There's plenty of pictures to see of how it went. There was even like a map. I think it's still view. There's a People's Choice Awards as well, which I'll go through after. I've noticed a couple that are soloable that are on there. And a couple of games to go through. For example, I might go through SETI in a moment as well. That I had a look at on a demo online. That's pretty cool. The first one I want to talk about is the Thinning Veil Cormac. Cormac Mac Art on the other side of Midnight. And he's still campaign's still going. He's got less than 48 hours. By the time you might look at this, might be the last day. Just want to give a bit of a shout out for this one because I saw it pop up on UKGE as well as me doing a like a campaign look at it about a week or two ago. And I've had actually a chat with a designer. I've been able to be lucky enough to set up a time to have a demo with this game with a designer, and I've actually ended up pledging for the £100 pledge for this one, which is the pretty much most of the gameplay, I believe. After having to sit down with him online, having a chat about the game, and I just thought I'd like just mention it a bit for those that might not have noticed it because it's a bit more on the um, I believe it should be getting more than it is at the moment, and it probably is hard these days to get funding where you can. It's a 1 to 2 player game, but I think the core game is it's mainly made for all solo play to start with. And there's a few different versions. You can just get the base game for £40. If you wish, you can even get versions where there's minis as well. If you want to put minis and buff up your game, you can even get one where you want to paint all the minis for you. Um, but what I'll do, I'll show one of Lance's from Learn to Play's video, just a still of it in the background here. I can give you a good explanation of like how it roughly works from here. Because I played a very similar scenario. I think it was the exact same scenario with the designer, and I was quite impressed how it works. Like, so first of all, you'll notice he's got his iPad out. It is very narrative focused, and I thought the narrative was really good. It got me right into the theme as the designer was speaking through it. And by the way, he's got a very good narration voice. um, but he was speaking through the process of the game and what your options are, the bit of the story behind each little tile as you come across new tiles. So two tiles are start here to start with, but as you move into new tiles, others come in and they're somewhat random. The designer was saying there's two different modes. There's like the dungeon crawling tile mode, and I think there's more of an exploration narrative tile in future tutorials as well. So like kind of two modes. And generally, you have a choice. You move into a new tile. There's usually like a fate roll, and yes, there's dice rolling involved in this one. But there's also like tactics with how you use those resources. The dice that you roll will gain you resources in a certain action, and you got to be careful which one you use for certain areas. So, for example, in this room here, looks like there's a treasure chest. There's something else up here that they can search. You would need some interact actions to be able to do that. And to get that is like I think it was 2 out of 6 chances on a die. Otherwise, when you enter a new tile, you roll a couple of dice to see what fate you roll up on a fate table to see what happens. I found it just really cool. It got me really into the theme of what's going on here, and like being careful of what actions I spend. I can sense certain danger coming. There might be a guard. This is a prototype version, but there might be a guard coming at you, and you've got to be thinking about okay, if I move um, away from the guard, if I need to go back to this room, I've got to be careful of my actions, what I need to spend to get back there. There is like a time limit in this scenario, for example. Anyway, there was like a noise time limit. If you hit 12, something bad was going to happen, and there was also a 6 round limit if you don't. And there was something bad that was going to be read if you don't get to that, get out of this dungeon within 6 rounds. So there's that little pressure you gain. You can search for treasure, gain treasure chests, and you gain things that can help mitigate your dice or give you extra actions. And the way you lose health is through like attributes and attribute tests. And I found that very interesting. You don't just, I mean, you can just lose health, but there's more things if you get damaged or something, yeah, damages mentally or physically to Cormac, you do remove cubes and that limits your testability. So and they're different stats here. I'm not sure if that's metal or what that was, but say it was metal on one of your stats, you could elect to say, oh, if I'm taking 2 damage, I want to take 2 damage from my metal. But then you might have to do a test on that, and you're losing 2 dice for your test, where there's only 2 and 6 chance of getting a success in most cases. It was really cool. I really got into it. It made me feel as though so a dungeon crawl that had a bit more theme to it. It wasn't your typical beer and pretzel type dungeon crawler where it's just like, oh, I'll chuck some dice at it and see what happens. There was more to it. There were more tactics that I felt grabbed me, and that's why I'm pledging for this after having a chat with the designer. I thought, you know what, this is actually quite a good game. It should have more focus, and that's why I want to put it on my channel and just see. There might be a few other people on my channel that go, look, I'm actually interested. You could probably reach out to the designer, just have a quick chat if you have time, and if he has time as well. But I'm in for this one. I'm really curious how this one plays out, and I think it'll be a good solo edition. I don't really have a great narrative dungeon crawler that gives me this kind of the dice manipulation, dice mitigation options, testing options. Yeah, really cool. So I thought I'd give a shout out there, and feel free jump on the Game Found Pound. Just still day and a bit to go if you're interested in backing for this one. What else did I get from looking through the UK Games Expo? So CGE, which Lost Ruins of Arnak, is one of my favourite games of all time. It's my favourite Euro for solo, especially with the Missing Expedition expansion on top, the leaders in the campaign version as well. It was fantastic, and it's my favourite Euro type game. I'm not a heavy Euro guy; it's more of like a medium weight Euro. This one looks a bit Euro-ish again from them, but it's 1 to 4 player. I'm not sure how solo runs. Every demo I'm trying to look up here, it's running for like a 3 or 4 player game. I'm very curious about this. Everyone has like their own little map, like their own private enterprise or country. I'm not sure exactly what it is. You have your own resources, and what was curious here is that you got your own solar system, but you also got the outer reaches of the solar system, and you got like exoplanets that you can look at. And at certain moments in the game, this can actually rotate, so you can see different planets. You can visit out there, you can gain data from that certain areas. And there's like actions like that where you can scan for data, and that data will be something that you have to analyze later. So you take that resource, put it on your map, you have to analyze that later to be able to gain victory points or popularity. And you also can gain cards that give you extra benefits or extra actions on top of that. And I thought that was kind of a cool little mechanic. I'm not sure how solo works. You can send rovers at the places. Eventually, you might find life. In this demo here, which if you want to look up, it is from Czech Games Edition. It's their demo that I did at UK Games Expo. These guys found within turn 1 an alien life on Mawa, the rock that's come flying through our solar system. So based on a little bit of real life, but adding a little bit of fiction to it in terms of finding alien life and these things and what would happen, what could you do, how can you get points, how do you gain popularity and win the game. So it was a bit of a snippet demo. I didn't tell exactly everything that I needed to know, but it looked like it was quite involved. A lot of tokens to win over from your opponents. As I said, for solo mode, whether there's an ultima or it's just like a set scenario that you have to beat it by a certain amount of rounds, I'm not sure. But colour me intrigued. I'm assuming it's coming out soon. And, Czech Games Edition, I've liked Sanctum as well, when the original dungeon, kind of like a Diablo-esque dungeon crawler. And I find that was okay, but Lost Ruins of Arnak is my favourite from them. But yeah, check that one out. Another one that's popped up for me, the new expansion for Heroquest. Some people might shout out here and go, oh, hang on, Heroquest has a dungeon master normally. That is true in the normal sense of the game, but you can get the app which allows you to play solo or co-op. And that's why I've played this. I've played a couple of quests, a couple of quest books. So the core game and one of the Witcher Lord expansion. I've got a couple others. I've got like the Frozen Horror, and just for those that are interested, if you're into Heroquest, Jungles of Delthrak, which I thought was a fake a while ago because people on Facebook groups were saying that it's not real, blah blah. But then it's actually come out to be real. And there's plenty of miniatures in this one. This might be a bit of a dearer sort of expansion. It's definitely new. It's not one of those ones where it's been rehashed or re-imaged in the new fashion. Looks like there's a few hero characters within red, which makes me think maybe it's like a druid character that can turn into these things, or you can ride these things a la Golden Axe style. I don't know. Got a big giant spider, got a big giant gorilla, big snake or basilisk. statues, some more some kind of sorcerer book things. It looks like some more cards coming with it and a quest book. So usually what happens with these is that it comes on the app later, and all the expansions so far have. I haven't seen one that has not come up except for like the random special quest. But yeah, I'll be curious about this one. €50 for Europe. So in Australia, that's probably it's probably similar to the Majors of the Mirror, I think, like maybe $80 to $90 when it first hits out in Australia. But I'll be very curious about that. Next, I will talk about the awards and the ones that I've had to look up that were soloable. I'm not sure, and honestly, I don't know how they choose the winner here, whether it's people voted, fan voted, or the people that have organised Games Expo voted. I don't know. But in any event, going through these, La Cunha is not soloable, as far as I know. RuneScape Kingdoms, that came out on crowdfunding a couple of years ago. Must be starting to hit people. I didn't back it. That was just my thought. I didn't back it, but it won the best American style game. And it is 1 to 4. When I checked out BGG, it does say best one. Some people have already voted that it's best for one player, which I find curious. So it might be something that I might come back to. So if you're interested in that, check that. Windmill Valley, I had a quick look. I don't know anything about Windmill Valley, but got voted best Euro game. It is soloable. I don't know how. It doesn't really say much about it on here, but if I do go back, it's here. It is best 2 to 3. 2 people have recommended. It's pretty lesser known. I guess it's kind of new. The 2 people recommended, so no one's not recommended it. But can you trust 2 people? I don't know. That's up to you, but keep a watch out for that. If you're a bit of a Euro fan. Other games come Voidfall, it's been out for a while now. Some people really love it. It's very in-depth strategic if you have a lot of time to set it up. I've played it once. I don't own it. I've just played it once online, and luckily I didn't have to do the setup at all. Apparently, setup is a bit of a pain, and the board space it takes up. I don't want to talk about too many negatives, but that's the main negatives I see with it. Otherwise, it's a very intense game, very thinky game. If you're into that kind of thing, like what you're planning next and how it's going to react with the Ultima. David Turksey's done the Ultima, so for those that are fan of his, there's a lot of fans of his. You'll like that. I'm not sure what its retail presence is like. It was another crowdfunding game. Skullduggery is not solo. I don't think Pioneer Rails is either. And if you're into children's games, I didn't check this one out at My Goldmine. If I look up the dice game, I didn't look at that. Lots of spots. Look up spots. Spots 2022, is that the one? I assume so. It does come to its best, wonderful players. It looks like for me, I would not recommend it for solo. There you go. So balance between recommended and not recommended. So maybe hit and miss depending on what you like. It looks like a very quick sort of solo dice game if it is. What are you matching? Looks like you're placing dice on dogs. Spots greater than 7 equals bust. Yeah, I wonder if it's more suited for like a party game, perhaps. I'm not sure. Speaking of party games, sorry, what? This party game, miniature rules. If you're into miniatures, I'm not huge in miniatures. Miniature was it Mycelia? I don't know that one either. I think I've heard of it. Is that like mushrooms or something? It's 2 different Mycelias. Best one player. 2 people, one person not recommended. Well, that's okay. That's hard to judge. One person didn't like it at all. 2 people think it's great. Solid. Let's have a look at a picture here. Hard to tell what's going on. Looks a bit sort of abstract. What did it win? Best family game. So I'm not sure if that's the right Mycelia or if it's the other one. Interesting how there's 2 Mycelias at the same time. Maybe the 2023 version. This looks a bit more family-ish, the way the art design looks. Yeah, a lot of people recommended solo. Highly recommended. Some of its pictures. This looks more family. This is probably the game I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm curious. No Ravensburger. Okay, it looks like are you planting mushrooms? Some of that. I don't know. Maybe it's like color matching type game. All right, so if you're into that, role playing game, Salvage Union. heaps of role playing stuff. There's a lot of role playing and miniatures at this Game Expo, which I'm very amateur at that sort of stuff. So I'll leave it up to the experts to judge those ones. Yeah, I think that might do me, guys. So that was just a quick run over of my thoughts of the games that showed up. Thinning Veil, Cormac, Airt. I'm very grateful that I got a chance to demo it online after hearing a bit more about it. And yeah, really impressed by it. That was one that I thought it's worth backing for an independent type, smaller game, smaller company. So check out Learn to Play for that one if you want a bit more information how it plays. You can reach out to the designer from the campaign page on the last day it's got. Also SETI, that's from Czech Games Edition, something I'm going to keep my eye on. Highly recommend if you like Lost Ruins of Arnak, or if you're into like Euros or medium weight Euros. Yeah, have a look at that one. If you're into like Heroquest Nostalgia, it's got it there for you too. That's what I'll check that one out, see how much it costs. I am a few quests behind, so I'm not sure if I'll rush and get it. But in Australia, they tend to sell out and not come back. These last expansions, which kind of sucks. And the People's Choice Awards, there's a few things I've learned. RuneScape, I saw it come up in crowdfunding. I just didn't think it was for me at the time, but you know, RuneScape being, geez, based on that video game from about 25 years ago. And that was pretty fun when I was a kid. Don't know much about Windmill Valley, but it looks like a lighter medium Euro type game. Voidfall, I have a lot of friends that like that type of style game. If you have the time and you really like to think through a game, yeah, I think it's got all. I think it's one of the best in that sort of situation. Yeah. Ready, guys. Souls, I'll leave it there. Pressure game first. Thanks a lot.